Well, good morning to 2024, Principal. Are you here on guard this morning? You pooed through the barn. That's always a good way to start the day. Hello, little Maybelline. Hello, my darling. Hello, Annie. You look grumpy this morning. Why do you look grumpy? Is it because I'm a little bit late out? And look, even the pussycats have come to say good morning. Hello, Twix. Hello, Dee. Hello, girlies. Hello, girlies. Prince, you made a real mess in here. Let's go and get everyone breakfast and then start cleaning up. Waitsy and Jubbers have theirs. We had a lot of fireworks here last night, as we often get for New Year. But fortunately the horses will cope with it really well. There's the boys. Just hiding behind the hedge over there. Well, Twix and Dee were telling me that they needed breakfast this morning, and the delivery man, unfortunately, has delivered their food into the house where we've got guests at the moment, and I can see it inside the front door, but I can't go in and get it. So they're getting an extra treat this morning because they're getting a nice little bowl of sardines, which hopefully they'll be very happy about. I think the sardines are a hit. Problem is they're going to be expecting this every morning now. That's a bit different to what you usually have, isn't it? If you've watched the advents, this makes me smile on a Monday morning because Frey on a Sunday has her Frey days, and she always makes sure that the kitchen area is clean. I've got my cafetiere, my cup and my jug for making my coffee on a Monday morning. Cheers everyone, and here's to a great start to 2024. Here's all the girlies and Pfizer tucking into a bit of morning haylage. I'll leave it to Tamara to bring out their hard food later. She loves it when they're quite demanding. She was telling me yesterday how they were trying to push her over as she was bringing the food in. I always say that she's not strict enough, and they know that. So yeah, they just push her over. I should film it one day. One of them jumps up at her. I'm not quite sure who it is. I think it's Astra, or maybe it's Pfizer. We'll get it on video one day. Look, we've got a beautiful day. What a view. Join me as I prepare the feeds for all the girls and boys outside. This time of year, we give them a bit of Alpha A. So in the summer, we give them just a straightforward, low-calorie chaff. But I like to give them Alpha A in the winter because it's got a little bit more to it. So they will get a handful of that. They all get these pellets, which is a low-calorie feed balancer with all the vitamins and minerals they need. And that way they can all have this, regardless of however much hard feed they're on. I also give the boys, especially Nero, some extra calorie nuts. They're basically conditioned cubes that just help them maintain and keep their weight. So
Nero and Obi in particular need a little bit more because they're very high energy horses. You know, they move around a lot, so they don't maintain their weight as well. I like to soak all the feeds with some water as well, because it just makes it a little bit more palatable and stops it from, not that it swells massively, but I don't like the idea of it swelling in their stomach, because there is an issue with impaction in Frisian horses in the stomach. So I always just like to make sure that the food is well moisturised and well hydrated, which then helps them. I try not to overcomplicate the feeds, because they just need to be fairly basic. As long as they're getting the vitamins and minerals, that's fine. So we don't use a huge amount of supplements. I do give Hida and Hunnis turmeric. Hida is also one who gets a butadiene just to help with his mobility and keeping inflammation down. He does have arthritis, and I found again over the years that it just helps keep him a little bit more comfortable. Hunnis, whose feed I'm doing here, is the only one who gets a lot of supplements, because, as I said, I try and keep it very simple and straightforward, because they lead a very natural life out in the field, eating grass. It helps to keep their digestive system working really well. But Hunnis, with all the treatment and the problems he's had with the sarcoids, I've had some really useful advice and help from an animal nutritionalist, who's just helped me with some additional things that could help his system and help his autoimmune system. So we've kept him on those, probably because I'm loath to take them off in case there's a deterioration. He gets some zinc, some vitamin C, some berberine, the turmeric, as I mentioned, and you know, he's doing well on it, so I'm not going to change it. I always worry with the carrots that I'm not being fair with them, so I like to try and make sure that they're all getting the same amount.
I'm not being terribly efficient this morning. I've not even mucked out yet, and we're halfway through the day, because while I've been feeding everybody down the road and then up editing my New Year video, I heard all this noise outside. Hoitzer and Jubbers, so Hoitzer's now in here and Jubbers is out by the hay hole, had decided that they wanted out of their field, and I'm just going to show you why. And not just why, but how. And this is one of our other little maintenance jobs. Well, we've got lots of big maintenance jobs. This turnout that they go in occasionally, and it's really horrible at this time of year because it's very wet and boggy. It needs the gate hanging on properly. But what we don't have is a stoop or a post on the side here for it to hang on. This bit of wall is falling down because the tree is growing into it. So the whole thing needs rebuilding to be able to hang the gate on it. We could look at putting a post beside it, but because all the ground is so rocky, it's not an easy thing to do. And as we don't have a full-time maintenance person, and it's not a 5-minute job, we end up just propping this gate up against the two parts of the wall. So wouldn't it be nice if we could get this dealt with this year, as well as maybe sort out this bit of fencing over here? The list is endless, but it's quite nice trying to now prioritise which ones are the most important to do. I look, Tamara and Woody have come to join me inspecting. I've just propped it up again because that will do for now.
It just gets so boggy. But what needs to happen is this wall needs to come down and be built around the tree.
Oh, you see, I got it right. You see, sometimes I worry that I walk around and I say all the wrong things with the maintenance because Tamara understands all this stuff better than me. But yeah, it all needs to come down, doesn't it?
And then we can properly hang the gate.
Yeah. Woody, did you just cock your leg against it? You dirty little boy. Look, Woody's had a haircut. Hey, Woods!
You look so smart.
Hello, gorgeous boy. Go on, go and get really muddy now. Right, I'm going to go and put this bit of tatty electric back up. In Tamara's words, bodged for now, like most things.
Finally, I've got round to a little bit of mucking out. It took me a while, halfway through the day, but it is New Year's Day, so it's supposed to be a nice quiet one. But I do want to get the horses in, or some of them in, for a little bit of a pamper. Now, I generally don't do a lot of mucking out these days because I'm very lucky, because we've got Hol, Frey, Jodie, who come in and do a lot of the day-to-day stuff. But I actually really like it every now and again. So just like Frey has her Frey day on a Sunday, every now and again I like to just have a day to myself. And yes, it's lots of hard work, especially at my age, but it's just really nice because it's a way for me to pick up on lots of little things that need doing that I might not necessarily notice when I'm not getting involved in the day-to-day sort of maintenance of all the boxes and all the areas surrounding the barn. I've decided to put Hoytzer and Jubbers in the orchard, and Hoytzer started Hoytzer started splashing at the water as soon as we came in. I actually thought he was going to get down and roll in it. It wouldn't surprise me if he did, and it wouldn't be the first time. Grubby little boys. I've moved little Peppa Pig, little Mabel across into this one as it's all nice and tidy, and I've just given her a little treat of a minty horse lick which she can just have for the next 10 minutes because it does have quite a lot of sugar in, and as you're on a diet, Mabel, it's maybe not the best thing. If you're interested, what we use in our beds at this time of year is we use these wood pellets, although I'm about to swap them for straw pellets, and shavings to go on the top. So the wood pellets are really good at absorbing any of the wet, so when they pee in the bed, you just get a small area that you have to lift up and bring out. Let me try and show you in here. We have in the stables these rubber mats, which just give some cushioning on top of the concrete. They're all a bit old and tired. In an ideal world, we'd have nice sealed rubber floors, but we don't have that. So I'm just going to carry on and get the stable mucked out and show you a little bit of how the pellets work in here.
If you'd only believe in me, don't you be like that, I will love you for.
I've just heard some rustling behind me while I was mucking out. Mabel's left the lick now and is tucking into the bit of haylage in there. She'll have soak stuff later. And Anya had found the lid to the lick, so I'm letting her have it for a few minutes as well, but she's already destroying the top. So destructive. Going back to the mucking out, so the pellets that I talked about, they go down on the floor here. Let's see if I can show this to you. And we only use these in the stables up here. We don't use these in stable stays because they're a bit dusty. But you can see I've scraped away all the dry stuff on the top. And then where they pee, because the pellets are very absorbent, they keep it in one area. So where it's all dark there, that's all the wet stuff that's going to get thrown out. And it's much better than if we were just using purely shavings, which we do in stable stays because it's dust free. Then all of that wet ends up spreading throughout the whole bed, and we end up wasting an awful lot of bedding. So as I say, during the winter, we'll use a mixture of the two, and it makes it a little easier to muck out.
If you'd only believe in me, yeah.
So I'm not going to put any new pellets down today, just because there's quite a lot that I've thrown up into the bankings. So when I bring that back down, there's enough expanded pellets there that they'll be able to absorb the moisture really well. So we tend to put them in every couple of days, but it doesn't need it today.
It's time to quit while we're ahead.
One of the other reasons we use the pellets is because these stables, when it's raining a lot, can get very, very wet. We know the roof needs attention, but what also happens, because the whole barn is built on rock, as you can see from just over here on the outside, there's no foundations as such, and what happens is the water table rises and it actually comes up through the floor here, through the different rocks underneath. The water finds its way. As you know, water can get anywhere that it finds a little path, and it comes up through the floor, making it extra wet. So at least the pellets will absorb some of that moisture, and then we put the shavings on top just to make sure that they've got a nice dry clean bed underneath. Come on Annie, off to bed. Go on, off to bed. Go on, in you go. Oh, that's not bed, is it? That's not bed. Come on, round this way, round that way. No, you're not having my coffee. Go on, into bed. Good girl. Good girlie. Hello boys, hello angel eyes. I'm sorry, I was going to bring you in for a clean up today, but it's not happened. Hello Iceman. Hello. Hello Obi-Wan. Oh my goodness, look at the state of you. Boys, so dirty. They had a new bale of haylage on Saturday, and we're Monday now, so they've got plenty for now. But I noticed earlier that the girls were a little low, so I'm just on my way down with the tractor now to go and give them another one. They heard me coming. They were all happily grazing over the other side of the field, and must have heard that the new bale was on its way. There is quite a bit in here, but they are quite selective over the bits that they like, and I will pull all of this to the edges so at least it doesn't completely go to waste. Hey Micah, hello my gorgeous. Hello my gorgeous. Who else have we got coming? I think I'll have to stop the tractor while I do this, because they're all coming to help. Xiao, this is why I left the plastic on, because you're never very helpful. You always try and steal it while it's still on the tractor, and now you're eating all the string. Right, you're going to have to go away, Xiao. Go on, Xiao. Off you go. Off you go. Leave it alone for now. Go on. Thank you. And don't go eat the tractor now. Always looking for trouble. I'm going to tell Holly on you tomorrow. That's a little better. I've got the dry stuff up around the edges, and this bit in the middle where it's sat at the bottom and got damp,
it gets a little bit sweaty and then that's not very nice for them to eat. So I'm now going to put the new bale that they're all helping themselves to now over there, right in the middle here. Zhao, are you going to take the plastic off for me? Oh no, it's Micah taking the plastic off. Thank you, go on, pull it off. That saves me a job. Shall I help you there? There we go. Put that in the recycling. So it has plastic on the outside and then it has this string that you will have heard Zhao pulling at. So obviously I need to get that off because we don't want them eating that, which they generally wouldn't, but obviously it's in the way. Hey Nikki Nose, hey Nikkies. You can't beat a fresh bale of haylage. It always tastes nicer than stuff that's been sat there for a couple of days. Who are you pulling faces at? Poor Ren. Ren, you always stand back and wait for everybody else to go first, don't you? Hmm? Hey, beautiful. Hmm? She's a good girlie. A little floppy do. Who have we got next? And we've got Micah. Big Yodel. Dow Dow. Hey Dow. Hello. And Spesh. Nikki Noo's just being patient as well. Doing the Nikki Noo stare. Just going to let you listen to that for a minute because it's the best sound. It's another day, and today it's not quite as nice as New Year's Day. And as you can see, we got a huge volume of water again last night. I think this is probably one of the wettest winters we've had. So everywhere is looking really quite disgusting. I'm going to bring Hoytsie and Jubbers out of the orchard because Hoytsie's got a visitor today in Stable Stays. A young lady, I can say that because I'm in my 50s, who celebrated her 30th birthday on the 31st of December. And she's actually going to come and have a session in the Friendship Barn with Teddy Bear, who, as you can imagine, with them being as grubby as they are in all this mud, has taken quite a lot of time to clean up this morning. He's now nice and clean. So he's going to be going in the Friendship Barn, and then she can spend the night with Hoytsie Poytsie. So I'm going to bring him in for a clean up and just show you the girls. This isn't quite as flooded as it can get, as you may have seen in some of the earlier videos. But thank goodness for this stone at the front. And they all choose to stand on it. Hello, girlies. Hello. You've made quite good headway with all that haylage. So this is ideal, you know, because although they go off and graze, at least when they're stood around the haylage, they're not deep in mud. It's feed time again, and we've got carrots out. And one of the things that we do while we're feeding is we have a rake and a pair of gloves, and we have to move all the droppings off this hard standing area just to try and keep it as clean as we possibly can. We know that the dirt is going to build up over time, but if we can keep it free from as many droppings as possible, then that will keep it nice for longer. Of course, why they can't go and poo in the main field, who knows? That's the thing, they have certain like toilet areas around the field. So if you see a field of horses and you see some areas where the grass is long and others where it's shorter, you'll find that they select an area in the field where they use it as their toilet area, and then the grass gets a little bit sour and not very nice to eat, which is why horses are not seen as the most tidy or economical grazers, because it ends up meaning a lot of the grass is not edible for them. A lot of people will use poo pickers to go round the fields and pick them all up, but that's never been a practical option for us. We don't have the equipment, plus with the size of the fields it would be a full-time job for somebody every day. So are generally in the spring, and a couple of times during the summer we'll just harrow the droppings so that they get spread around more and they don't just all accumulate in the one area. The next logical step for this area would be to get a concrete base put down and just a big open barn, a big open covered area, so that when the weather is particularly bad during the winter, they can still go out and stretch their legs, but then they can come in and shelter under a roof, and the haylage will stay dry, and it will be obviously a lot easier to clean. And then they can stand in if they want to. Although generally they're quite happy standing out in the rain as long as they can move around. But when we do have these extreme bursts of weather, it's nice for them to have the option. Little Jubbers followed Hoyts around to stable stays, but I told him he's not in there for the night, so he's going to spend the night with Princicles. Hey, little Prince. Oh, he's missing his buddy, and Hoytzer, he's up there, about to head back into stable stays.